How much money do you need to start a business? Everybody disagrees on how much money you need to start a business because they're looking at different industries. In this part 2 of our 2-part series, I'm going to walk you through that very thing. One of my favorite things to talk about in the entire world is business. And when I can talk about business and real estate in the same day, well, that's a pretty good day for me because I love entrepreneurship. I love what it does for people. Being able to build a business and add value to people at such a rate where you can create jobs, to me, is one of the highest callings in our country. And I love to do that. So for you to start a business and for me to be able to help you do that and understand your cost is a very, very big honor. So I'm going to walk you through 3 things you need to do in order to understand how much money you're going to need to get this rocket off the ground. One of the things you need to know before you know how much money it's going to take to start a business is understand your projected need of delivery. And here's what I mean by that. If you're going to build a web-based business and start designing websites for people, in the first year, if you're going to do 5 sites versus 500 sites, it's going to be a completely different startup cost because you can't scale to 500 without staff. And so you're going to have to know how much business am I going to project that I'm going to earn in the first year and how much money is it going to take to deliver on that business. If you're selling a product-based business and you're selling your own products and you're going to sell X amount of products in a year, you're going to need to know how much inventory do I need to buy before I can start selling, or how much inventory I'm going to buy after I start selling, all of which plays in to how much money is it really going to take to get this thing off the ground. So you're going to have to know how much sales and how much need is actually out there and am I projecting. Networking with other businesses in your niche is a great way to understand how much you should be expecting in your first year. What's a good metric? And then you want to set your goal just above that. If most people are earning $100,000 a year, you try to generate $150,000 a year by creating some more innovative ideas. But understand the need of delivery dictates how much money you're going to have to come up with to start. When I started our real estate company, I had to come up with websites, I had to come up with marketing materials, I had to come up with things to reach out to investors so that I could connect with them in a professional way. That was all startup cost. Now, it doesn't cost me money to get a real estate deal, but I do have to front end load some money to lock the deal under contract. For example, if I'm going to buy $1 million property, I'm usually going to need to put down a $25,000 earnest money deposit to lock in that property. Now, when it closes, I'll get that money back, but that's considered a startup cost because I can't really buy properties without putting that money down. And investors a lot of times don't come in till after the property's under contract, and you can't really get it under contract until you put that EMD down. So for us, for our business, we had to make sure we had some capital in an account to lock up these properties. We got them back in 90 days, but we had to have it ready to go. See, the projected need of delivery changes the amount of money you need to launch your business. And the next thing you're going to need to know is how much it costs to get a customer. This is one of my favorite things to talk about in business because most people don't have a clue how much it costs to get a customer. And here's the problem with not knowing this. Not only if you don't know how much it costs to get a customer, you don't know how much money you need in order to launch your business. Because if it takes money to get customers, you're going to need to front end load that money in order to start getting customers. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't know how much a customer costs to get, you're never going to know how to launch this business with accuracy in your finances. But there's another element to this. Not only how much a customer costs to get, but you also want to know the average lifetime value of your customer. The average lifetime value of your customer will tell you a very important metric that I'll talk about in a minute. But think about this. Let's say you're a coach and you're coaching people on how to have better relationships, and you're going to launch an online coaching business helping people have great marriages, great relationships. And you got to build a website, you got to start doing some marketing. But when people come into your mastermind or into your coaching program, they usually stay 2 to 3 years. And that ends up equaling anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. So let's take on average, every client that you earn is worth $6,000. When you know what the lifetime value of a customer is, now you can know how much you can spend to get one. See, most people don't project the lifetime value of a customer, and they don't really know how much they can spend to get one. So you might be asking, well, Mike, if I'm launching a business, how do you find this out? Great question. The networking with other businesses will often tell you the lifetime value of a customer is this in the industry. Because while some businesses do this really well and some businesses don't do this well at all, It often comes down to customer service. How long a customer stays with you is about two things: how well you serve them and how many more products you offer them once they're in your system. And the truth of the matter is, until you understand the lifetime value of a customer, you don't know what you can spend to get one. And if you don't know how much it takes to get a customer, you're not gonna know how much money to have in your bank to start marketing. Whether you're leveraging an agency or doing bootstrap marketing yourself, you're not gonna know how much money to put into it so you can safely project how much you're gonna get out of it. Marketing is investing. And when you're building a business, that's also investing. But what are you really investing in? You're investing in customers. That's what the investment in a business is. You're investing in the value and satisfaction of customers because it's the only thing that really keeps your business growing. And without knowing what that's going to take over the long haul, and without not knowing what they're going to spend with you over the long haul, it's really tough to know what to get. So when I launched my coaching business, and when I teach people how to build real estate empires and really grow their wealth and retire in 5 years, I went to everybody that I knew that coached in this space that didn't necessarily coach on what I coached on. I asked them, how long does a customer usually stay with you, and what's your price point that you charge them? And the reason I chose people that didn't coach on my exact niche is sometimes people get a little close to the chest with that information if you're up and coming competitor. So I asked people that weren't my competitors. I teach multifamily. I asked people that teach fix and flipping homes. I went and talked to them. How long do they stay in your mastermind programs? You can do the same thing. If you're starting a product-based business, go talk to people that have those businesses that have different types of products and say, how long do people usually stick with you? If you're of a service-based business, if you're an auto mechanic, go talk to an auto mechanic in another town that you're not a competitor and say, how long do people usually stick with you if they bring you their car? And what's that worth month after month after month? And that will tell you what you can spend to get one. Before I continue with how much money you need to get started in your business, make sure you subscribe to our channel and continue to watch our videos around building your business, creating wealth, and investing in real estate. This content was created with entrepreneurs just like you and mine, so we can help you create financial freedom and have ultimate time freedom. The next thing you need to decide is, do you need physical space? Are you launching a business that requires physical space in order to operate? Are you starting a coffee shop? Are you starting a restaurant? Are you starting a clothing store that's not really gonna sell online, but it's gonna have a storefront? You're gonna need to know if you need physical space. Are you gonna be an attorney that has an office? Are you gonna launch a chiropractic center where you need a place to practice? Are you a counselor where the government requires you to have a physical office address because they don't want you counseling out of your home? The truth is, the type of business you start will dictate if you really need physical space. So the first thing you need to know is, can you work without physical space? And always start there if you can, and then work up to physical space. If you need it from the get-go, then we have to start doing some understanding of what that's gonna take. How good of a lease can we actually get? How much money are we gonna need to raise to get that done, or get a loan from a bank to make sure that can happen? When people just like you are dreaming about starting a business, there's a couple things that trip them up on the front end. Number one is this: figuring out how much money it's actually gonna take to get it off the ground. We just walked through the ways you can surface getting that, but here's a couple obstacles you're going to face. I'm just gonna prep you for right now. I'm gonna prep you that you're gonna face loneliness, meaning you need to build a network to fight against that. Being an entrepreneur can be very, very lonely if you don't build a network of people to continue to inspire you and build into you. Whether that's a mastermind group or a networking group close by, get with people that can inspire you, drive you, hold you accountable, and continue to press you to get better. Plus, networking with people in other industries is a great way to build your business. Remember, Henry Ford is actually attributed with inventing the assembly line. The problem is, he didn't actually invent the assembly line. Somebody long ago, way back in the Egyptian days, there was an assembly line process where somebody did the same thing over and over again and something got done. So why was he attributed? He went to another industry, the food industry, and saw how food was prepped and how food was done, and that one person did the same thing over and over and over again, and he just applied that to the car industry. So networking with other people not only protects you from loneliness, but it gives you ideas that may not be being applied in your very own industry. The second obstacle you're gonna hit is customer acquisition. Every business hits the wall of customer acquisition at some point, meaning they need more customers to continue to grow their revenue, and they're struggling get it. Maybe they're using archaic marketing methods, maybe they're not up with the times, maybe they're marketing in a way that isn't really connecting with their customer, but you're often gonna hit the obstacle usually in the first to third year of the marketing game of figuring out how to get customers' attention so you can offer your product and service to them. Working with marketing people that understand marketing is paramount importance when you're really growing a business, because you have to know how to acquire customers at a rate that you can truly grow that business. I also want to give you a free gift today. It's our free business startup checklist. checklist. Go down into the description, click that link, and you'll get our free business startup checklist that'll make sure you don't forget anything as you're launching your brand new business. And by the way, good luck. I can't wait to hear about your success.